What's up, guys? Just doing a quick update video on the Vega. I know I say this every single video, but it has been a while. Gotten a lot done. It's just too bad my twin doesn't have time to video me. I don't have time to video myself. I gotta get this thing running and driving by May. And I know that seems like a while away now, but I don't have a ton of money. I'm on a tight budget and just a ton of things to do. But the things are starting to get checked off the list, and it's pretty exciting. So I'll show you guys what's up, and hopefully you like it. So here's one thing you probably won't like too much is transmission tunnel. Not too pretty welds there. This metal's thin, it likes to kind of pop right through, so I got to be careful with it. It's all strong though, it's holding up. So I know that it's a bit more round this way than the original tunnel was. It's a bit higher because that's why I had to do any of that in the first place. The Turbo 350 sits up a little higher, so the shifter had to come up a bit too. I actually finished the power steering. It runs. This thing cranks over, starts up. I finished the exhaust right here. It's just a single glass pack. I made my own crossover pipe up there. You can see it's got a flex joint right there. Well, not a flex joint. It's just got a interference fit so that I can actually take the whole thing apart, and that's how I did it. I welded it all up. Today I'm gonna get the rotors back on because they're my mentor told me that they're fine. That's kind of what we have for this thing. It's called a senior project, and you need someone to help you out. Got the right guy for mine. He's a genius, so that's cool. Here's the engine in all our glory. I still gotta set the timing right. It fired right up though. No fuel filter either, because the one I bought was brand spanking new and it leaked everywhere, so that was kind of annoying. The one problem we have though is the cooling system. You can see how high that thing loops up, so we had a couple air bubbles. The thermostat was bad anyway, so I ripped it out, filled the whole block with water, let the level sink until I knew that there were no air bubbles over here, and then just topped it back off until it was like right near the thermostat. I actually had to sand this thing down because it wasn't sitting flat and was leaking everywhere, so that's no good. I sanded it down, got a gasket, and used just a ridiculous amount of RTV on it. And you have an external filler here because the radiator, the cap is actually right here. You can see that. I did not want to cut the body, so that's her right there. I'll probably get this thing started up in a bit. I got a PCV valve on there because the kind of makeshift breather I had made, sorry, that sounded like ship, wasn't working too good. You can see the steaming out of there. We got oil pressure though. I know there's a tiny slow leak in the sump just because I didn't do the most fantastic job welding it. But I got my work cut out for me. There's alternators hooked up. It's charging. I've checked the battery level after running it for a while. I'm about to start it back up, and we got an external just thermometer on this thing just to really make sure that it's running cold. Well, you know, cold enough, because before it was getting real hot without the thermostat opening. So I'm going to fire this thing up in a little bit, and then I'm going to put those rotors on and just keep thrashing on this thing. Really cool to hear it run though. It's loud and it sounds pretty mean, so that's exciting. All right, here we go. We're going to fire it up, let it warm up for a bit. Fires right up. All right, we're back. So not sure if you guys could see that when I revved her a couple times, but coolant sprayed everywhere, all over the windshield, and was pouring out of the thermostat housing. So basically what had happened was the old one, like I was saying before, we had that cooling issue with the hose that comes up over here. So she was getting hot, she's overheating. So what I did is I just ran to Pep Boys right now, because what I had to do before is the housing was all pitted and stuff on the surface that it would have to be nice and flat to mate with the block there and a gasket. I still used a crazy amount of RTV to try to get that thing to seal right. Not sure what's up with these lights, guys. Sorry about that. But it just didn't work, obviously, because it just blew coolant everywhere. I just went to Pep Boys. I got back and got a new gasket, one with the O-ring. The new thermostat's in there. It's nice and shiny look. I like that blue gasket too. And I just started it up, and it's holding water. I'm gonna rev her a couple times, make sure it's not gonna leak anywhere again. But it's sounding pretty good. Only thing is over here. I gotta flip this. Over here on this side, that manifold has a bit of a leak. Only reason for that is just because I didn't get the bolts quite tight enough. It has like a donut gasket. GM's way of doing it. It's kind of a pain. It's just tough to get at those bolts. I can't drop the rest of the exhaust and just crank them, which I wish I could do, but it's just too much altogether, and I'd have to take the whole exhaust apart, which is the whole reason why it's leaking. So I have to get around to that. I'm just gonna let it warm up for a bit. Check out this thermometer we have just threaded straight into the block, just to make sure the temp gauge is working right. My mentor told me probably should be running about 120 degrees. So we're gonna start it up, let it warm up, and see if it'll kind of maintain coolness. I did get some antifreeze in there, a fair amount actually. So that's good, and we'll see how she runs. I'm just gonna see if I can find the keys here, so you guys get a little startup. It sounds real good with the glass pack. So here we go. Fires right up, no problem. You guys can hear that. Love that sound. So no leaks. Got the alternator tightened up. I checked before, it's charging. So I think the timing is pretty good too, because it starts up real easy. Should be able to rev. Yeah, no leaks, no problem. That's awesome. We'll get around to some other stuff now. Alright guys, so I just got done working on the Vega for today. She still started running real hot, so it's still cooling off. I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm hoping that it's just I need to keep topping off the cooling system, because it is filled with water. I filled the whole block, and it should be circulating, but maybe again once it cools off I'll just top that back up. Starts right up though, runs great. Sounds pretty cool too. Still got to get around to that exhaust leak back there. But no leaks from the coolant. We had a tiny one, but I figured out it was just this extra sensor right here that GM puts in, because Vegas were known for overheating like crazy with their old engines. So hopefully that's not something I'll need too much with this big V8 in here, because I got a nice aluminum radiator for the swap. But we'll see. Got that new housing on there I was talking about, still pretty warm. So that's cool. But also just got the old rotors on there. I know it's pretty dark, so it's kind of tough to see them. Grab a light real quick. Basically, original bearings were good, so all I did was just repack them with some new grease, cleaned up the spindles and put them back on. This thing rolls real well. That sound you're hearing is just the disc brake on there. We're keeping the original rotor calipers just because we're hoping we might be able to make them work if there's nothing wrong with them, so that'll be cool. Again, if so, I found a really sweet pair online, then I'll just bite the bullet and buy them. Getting these rubber hoses off here is going to prove to be really hard. These things do not want to move, so that'll be a bit of an adventure, I think, but we'll figure it out. And then unfortunately I was working on getting the back rubber hose out, and it just snapped both the fittings. I can show you guys. snap the lines right in two. You can see basically that the fitting is supposed to spin around the line when you're loosening stuff. But of course, once it gets old and rusts straight to the, because it's such a tight interference fit, once it gets old, and it'll rust straight to there, and then it'll just break your line right off. So it's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, it's kind of a pain because it's right on the rear end. I'm thinking, even though it's real expensive, just like I said, biting the bullet and probably getting a full preformed line kit for this thing. Not working to bend them myself because it's not something I have time to do really. So I'm thinking I'm just going to go inside right now and probably order that, because 2 snap fittings, I feel like it's just going to keep happening, and those hoses do not want to move. So I'm hoping there's a way I can just get that in as quick as possible, maybe get some quick shipping, and hopefully button things up, get all the lines in here. I already have the new rubber ones on the way, so that's cool. It's just all the hard lines, I'm sure, are rotted out, and I'm not too sure they're gonna hold up. I bet they'll just blow out once if I was to ever try using the brakes with the original lines. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna bite the bullet and do it. Should be worth it in the end, because then I just have insurance. I feel like even driving this thing with the old lines in it would be kind of scary. Just kind of always thinking, you know, like when is it gonna blow out? So now, if I go and do this, I'll just have that peace of mind that I know it's not gonna blow any lines on me, and should stop just fine. Hopefully those old calipers will hold up, and hopefully the shoes in the back. Shoes are only like $6 a pair for one of them, so 12 a pair. Not too bad. So that's what's going on with the Vega. Starts up, runs real nice. Still got to weld up the floor, figure out why the transmission isn't moving at all. It's got all the fluid it needs in there, but I'm hoping it's just a real simple problem, because it starts right up. So that's pretty exciting. Sorry again for not keeping you guys too updated. It's just so much going on, and I really just have to thrash on this thing and not focus too much on videos. But that's what's going on with the Vega. Sorry, I just had to put my phone on low power. She sounds good. She's getting there. I just got to keep working on it, and hopefully soon we'll drive this thing out of the garage. So thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll make another one of these soon, but no promises. Take it easy.